I am Jason Abraham, the Shadow Teacher, 33. And the words I started this video with, I am, the great I am, is what I'm going to go into today. Now, much of the time we associate the I am with affirmations. And someone who is practicing affirmations and has that practice in their life, it's fair to say usually there's a desire that has inspired those affirmations, a craving. And the Buddhist belief is that human suffering is rooted in desire. And through essentially being at peace with where one is and eliminating the craving, then one is able to find peace. Now, and letting go of this craving. Now, the Western world, we have manifestation. This is where the I am affirmations are. And with manifestation, you're having faith in a future that has not materialized yet, but the words are not enough. You have to feel it. You have to truly believe it. And it's essentially a form of hypnosis, of repeating, this is what I am. This is what my reality is. Now, what I found is that when one practices I am affirmations, when one starts to go in to that practice, when a craving is so strong, when a desire is so strong that one feels the need to do these affirmations, initially the opposite shows up. Initially you get more of what you're familiar with, more of what you're desiring to move away from. And much of this is because our identity is so much rooted in what's familiar to us. It's rooted in the past. And when we want to manifest a desire, we're looking at creating something that we haven't experienced necessarily. And most people fail at it because the way this works is we get what we believe we deserve, and so much of what we believe we deserve is what we've been experiencing most of our lives. And we also get a reflection of what we are, what we truly believe that we are. You see, the great I am, the infinite I am, lives in our heart space. And this is the spark of infinite creativity. However, if we are still living in our past paradigms and our view is distorted by trauma, when we start to call on that I am, what it's going to do is it's going to magnify the trauma that we have not healed within ourselves. And once again, what I say, when you have this strong desire and you start doing these I am affirmations, you get the opposite initially. And most people just quit. They say, yeah, this is just bullshit. This doesn't work. This is airy-fairy, new age drivel. However, what I found is if you can push through, if you stay on the I am and you start to work in your imagination, you start to use your imagination vividly and believe and start to feel this future in your body, then you start to become it. You start to become something that's more in alignment with the affirmation. You start to be something different, and you show up differently in your life. And our trauma stories, again, are based on a repeated story we tell in our minds and a repeated behavior, a repeated way of action. So when the trauma story shows up and it's familiar to us, simply by choosing a different action and acting a different way, we start to create a new reality. We start to break that loop that we've been in with that trauma story and open up to a new field of possibility. And that's ultimately what we're intending to do with these I am affirmations. We're intending to open up a new field of possibility in our lives. Again, this is Someone who does great work in this is Dr. Joe Dispenza. This is his quantum work, and writes great books, has great videos where he explains this in depth. But this is ultimately what you're doing when you're doing these I am affirmations, and also the trauma healing that would need to go hand in hand. Again, if we are not able to heal that trauma that's stored in us, and we're not able to reflect light and you first see it, name it, and then choose a different action that's going to set us into a different identity, then we typically are going to repeat the same patterns and be stuck. But once again, if you do all these things, then you move past. And then you start to become the I am. It may not exactly be as you visualize, but I can look at times when this has worked for me where the I am starts to show up. Again, our ego wants to control the way the I am shows up, and that's just where the letting go comes in. This is the Eastern idea of letting go of the outcome, letting go of the attachment. And when the I am shows up, you be grateful for it. You recognize it. Sometimes with people, the I am is showing up. They're just not recognizing it because it's not what their ego envisioned. It's something different. Another interesting scenario with I ams are people I know who are powerful manifestors, but they're also, I would say their manifestation is based in chaos. So they would manifest exactly what they would want, but then it would burn to the ground just as quickly as it would show up, because there's an unhealed trauma of worthiness that is again under the surface that they have not healed. And even though they are great with bringing about their intentions, a lot of times their intentions are violating the wills of others, and so there's that pushback. This is what you get with narcissists a lot of times. Narcissists are usually very powerful manifestors because their false self is so intense. They psych themselves into believing something, but again, that false self is in such disharmony with what's around them. Eventually, the souls of others will push back, and their dreams burn to an ash, just like that. Another principle with I ams and manifestation. We are a fractal consciousness. We're a piece of infinite consciousness, but there are other consciousness is around the world that are also pieces of this infinite consciousness that have their own egos, that have their own expression, that have their own will. And what we want is also working in a sea where others are intending to manifest what they want and acting on their beliefs. And sometimes when there's a big alignment, we get big results quick, but sometimes when there is disharmony with what's around us, the results are slower. Also, out in the cosmos, again, events in the stars, events that are interplanetary, they affect how we show up as individuals. I've made videos before where I'm someone who's kind of hard-headed. I always will push on and do my thing regardless, but I can honestly say when I'm going against astrological events and going against the consensus, sometimes I feel like I'm moving in the mud. But I'm choosing to do so because my values feel it's the right thing to do. So with that being said, I'm going to end this transmission. I gave you a lot here, a lot to chaw on. So I hope it settles well, and I hope it tastes good to you. Be strong, be well, my friends, and I'll see you on the other side.